Grayson had always believed that love was something sacred, deliberately built, patiently nurtured, and fiercely protected. In his world, real love demanded consistency, loyalty, and intention. So when Ava entered his life, dazzling and graceful, her laughter like music and her charm effortless, he fell without resistance. She seemed to fit seamlessly into the life he had imagined. And though the warnings were there, the late nights, the flickering stories, the guarded silences, he chose to look past them, mesmerized by the dream she painted. By the time they were engaged, Ava had become more than his partner. She was his fantasy made real. Their wedding was a culmination of months of devotion. Grayson planned every detail, from the lakeside ceremony to the gentle ballad that would accompany their first dance. As she walked down the aisle, radiant in white, he felt like the luckiest man alive. Tears welled in his eyes as they exchanged vows, surrounded by cheering family and friends. The reception was filled with laughter, toasts, and a magnetic sense of promise. As the celebration wore on into the night, Ava whispered that she was escorting a few friends to their cars. It sounded innocent, but when she didn't return after 15 minutes, Grayson grew uneasy. He stepped outside the hotel lobby and saw something that shattered his world. Ava sitting intimately in a car beside another man. Logan, a former acquaintance she had claimed to barely know. They were too close. Then came the kiss. Slow, familiar, and devastating. Grayson stood frozen, heart pounding so violently he thought it might burst. Ava exited the car and spotted him. Her face fell. She opened her mouth to speak, but he turned and walked away. No confrontation. No anger. Just a silence so deep it crushed him. He returned to the reception hall, slipped off his wedding band, and placed it quietly in his pocket. Around him, the music played on, the guests oblivious to the moment his world ended. That night, in their hotel suite, they lay in separate beds. Ava sobbed. She blamed the alcohol, the panic, the confusion. Grayson listened but said nothing. By morning, he left without a word, suitcase in hand. The honeymoon in Seychelles was cancelled. The marriage dissolved weeks later, no drama, no fight. Grayson didn't want explanations. The betrayal wasn't a misstep. It was a rupture. What followed was public humiliation. The photographer who had seen Ava at the car shared the story. Friends gossip. Pictures of the couple's first dance circulated online with mocking captions. Grayson became a tragic anecdote. He withdrew from everything. Work became remote. His social life vanished. He deleted his online presence, discarded his wedding suit, sold the car they had driven together. But pain lingered. His heart remained anchored to that night. Only two people remained steadfast. His friends, Mason and Elise. They respected his silence but never stopped trying. They called, brought meals, left notes. Grayson rarely responded. Then, 2 years later, Mason invited him to a quiet birthday gathering. Grayson nearly declined, but something stirred inside him, a need to reclaim a fragment of his old self. That night, Grayson stood before his mirror, unsure of the man staring back. But he dressed, stepped outside, and joined Mason. At the party, he retreated to a corner, lost in thought, until the door opened. And there she was, Ava. She looked unchanged. She floated through the room like she belonged, laughing as if nothing had happened. Grayson's breath caught. The pain surged again, raw and fresh. He wanted to flee but couldn't move. Ava hadn't seen him yet. She greeted Mason and Elise. Then her eyes found Grayson's. Time slowed. She faltered. Grayson stood and asked Mason for the car keys. Mason refused. He urged him to face the pain, to stop giving Ava power. Unable to argue, Grayson retreated upstairs. He stared out a window, haunted by memories. That kiss. That night. That silence. Then the door creaked. Ava entered quietly. She confessed she knew he'd be here, that Mason and Elise had helped arrange it. She said she needed to speak to him, to face him. Grayson listened in silence as she expressed regret, claimed she'd changed, Said she never stopped thinking about him. He exploded. Told her how she had broken him, humiliated him. She wept but didn't leave. She said no one had ever loved her like he did. That she had failed to understand what she had until it was gone. Grayson felt his walls cracking. She moved closer, touched his hand. He didn't pull away. They kissed. First tentatively, then with years of unresolved grief. That night they made love, slowly, uncertainly, with trembling hearts. In the morning, Ava asked him to join her for breakfast. Grayson declined. He needed time. She left without drama. Days later, he received a voicemail from a woman named Vivian. Her voice was calm but urgent. She revealed she had been married to Logan. She had discovered the affair during the wedding and said Ava and Logan had stayed together for over a year afterward. Publicly, Vivian said Ava had lied. She hadn't kissed Logan out of panic. It was ongoing. Worse, Ava had orchestrated the recent encounter, enlisting Kate, a mutual friend still connected to Mason and Elise. Vivian warned Grayson. Ava had returned not out of love, but desperation after Logan left her. Grayson sat in silence. Then clarity struck. Ava's return had never been about healing. It had been a test to see if she still had control. He sent Mason a message. "You and Elise are out of my life. Take care." He blocked them. Ordered a bouquet for Vivian. The note read, "Thank you for the truth." He went to Ava's apartment. When she greeted him, hopeful, he stopped her cold. Told her he knew everything. About the affair, the lies, the manipulation. He said their night together was not forgiveness. It was her final performance. He turned and walked away. From that day forward, Grayson began to heal. He started therapy. Not to understand Ava, but to rediscover himself. He realized forgiveness didn't mean reconciliation. He learned that self-love sometimes means closing doors for good. His heart, though wounded, now beat only for himself. And for the first time in years, Grayson chose peace over pain. And that was the most honest act of love he had ever committed.